This is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, and Jason Eidsmoe. We're talking Padres, Chargers, and Aztec sports.
Got to hit it to the right place. And he hits it out to center. Right center. Blackman's got a long way to go. He's still going.
Off the wall.
And it is off the wall. It takes a funny hop. Kemp is rounding second. He's heading to third. And Matt Kemp into third base with a triple and the first cycle in the history of the San Diego Padres.
He will hand it off. Tomlinson plows his way towards the goal line. LaDainian Tomlinson, one step closer to football immortality. Tomlinson has tied the single-season record. And the handoff to Tomlinson. Left side, and he will gallop into the end zone. Charger fans are witnesses to history.
Pope thought about it. Now steps up. And the freshman hits the jumper at the buzzer.
Well, this kid is some prospect. Big-time length, big-time game.
Pope straightaway three. Count it. Malik Pope. Pope off glass and good. On the other end, Joel doesn't miss that one. Shepard alley-oop to Pope. He got up there. Oh, wow.
It's time to let your voice be heard.
All right. Football season is finally upon us, although it's preseason still, but it feels kind of like a game day. We are the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for the fans.
By the fans.
And we are, of course, live from one of our favorite places to watch NFL football.
Yes.
And that is Cali Comfort, home of the Low and Slow Barbecue. For those of you who are in the San Diego area, come on down. They're in Spring Valley on Troy Street. If you've never experienced it down here, wonderful food. What a great smell.
Amazing food.
Great atmosphere.
Yes. Great people.
You know, and, of
screens
course,
everywhere.
Football screens everywhere.
Yes.
I'm Jason Eidsmoe, sitting in live with the headset on. Been a while.
Yes.
Justin Smead.
Yes.
And we have a real treat today. We have Jake Hefner. We found a way to avoid having technical difficulties.
Yes.
And that's him being here in person.
It's crazy.
How was the drive down here from way up north there, Jake?
Oh, it was great. Like I said earlier, traveling, from Moscow, you eliminate some custom problems, and everything goes right with the visa. But it was good. But in seriousness, the drive was great. Actually, it was a nice fog drive up this morning, so it wasn't actually too bad.
Hazy.
Yeah, but it was nice.
Nice
just
San Diego
from
drive.
Coming down, the 15. The 15. Yeah, right next to the ocean, right there. I mean, it was beautiful at that time of the day, so it was nice.
That's good, man. I'm excited to be here, guys. This is what it's about. Football's finally back. Chargers today kicking off the new stadium in Minnesota.
Bummer for them in Minnesota. They're going to have to get a loss in their first.
Yeah,
it
sucks. It sucks that they're going to have a loss in their first game ever at their new stadium. But what a good test for them today. I know we're excited to talk Charger football. This is the best test they could have before the Kansas City game, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. The atmosphere, whenever you bring in a new stadium to new fans and a fan base, considering what they've had to go through at the Metrodome for so long.
Sure.
The crowd is going to be insane. It is going to rival a regular season game today for sure. Definitely. As far as the crowd noise. And, it's going to, like you said, it's going to be a great test.
It's going to be ramped up.
Yeah, now we're going to get into, kind of previewing today's game and maybe get a few people that are here and a chance to talk about their expectations, not only for today, but for the season. The one thing that I think that we all need to be real careful and kind of agree amongst ourselves today is maybe today, at least when we're talking, we're only going to talk about players that are on the roster, players that are signed.
Are you saying there's no Joey Bosa talk today?
I'm saying there's no Joey Bosa talk by us at the beginning.
Right.
I'm sure that it'll get brought up later.
We spent 2 hours on Wednesday
talking 37 minutes, actually.
Sure, yeah. So we don't need to talk about that idiot. So
we're also joined, finally, by...
Hey, Mikey.
Better late than
program, bro.
Sorry, guys.
Did your ma wake you up?
I had a fun time yesterday.
That's attaboy. Hey, we're all slow poking today.
We have So we have 4 junkies on the mic today, 3 of whom are hungover.
It's all right.
I'm going to guess Jason's not.
And 1 is old and wise.
He's wise. He's a wise man. Even though there was beer in his cooler when it was over.
We had a lot of beer there last night. I just didn't partake in any very late. I started early, and then I stopped early.
You're
enough.
a better man than we are.
Well,
Yeah.
not better.
Smarter.
Smarter for sure.
Wiser.
Yes.
Comes with age.
Yes, sir.
14 days till the NFL season starts. Lots to be excited about as a Charger fan. I think that what we'll do is we'll take a quick break. We'll get ourselves reset. We'll come back. We'll talk about what the Chargers what we have to look for the Chargers when they're on offense. Maybe come back after that, talk about Chargers on defense, and then kind of open it up for people that are here. Give them a chance to talk about what they're expecting from the Chargers. We'll be right back in a minute.
The West Coast is back, better respect the name. It's the San Diego Chargers, feel the lightning bang. Kill the hype, we reign, SB running this game. This is 619, straight born and raised. This ain't no fad or phase, this is Cali for life. We gon' rally tonight, so pump your fist till you get it right. And keep it real so all the day go can feel you buffing out. Sing the anthem so the whole world can hear you.
To help your business stand out, we at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
I don't care how disco 70s or old that song sounds. I love it.
Never gets old, man.
Nope.
Never.
Classic.
Yes. There's been other Charger other Charger songs that have been made which are great, but nothing compares to the San Diego Superchargers.
Never.
San Diego Superchargers.
It's San Diego.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into this game. We can talk about the Chargers, what we're expecting to see this whole season, but let's start specific to this game. 3rd preseason game of the year. Everybody talks about it's the most important preseason game, if there is an important preseason game. Let's start with the Chargers on offense. Backup quarterback competition. We've spent a lot of time talking about that. Mm-hmm. Maybe some interesting things are going to happen. What do you think, Justin? Do you think that we're going to any questions are going to be answered today?
I believe so. I mean, you're going to have a good look. The barometer's going to be set today. I think you're going to see a good look at the first-team offense. I'm intrigued by Melvin Gordon again. I want to see him keep doing it. He's produced every preseason game. We've seen him do something good each time. We're seeing the reps. That's what you want to see. It's encouraging. The power formations, the blocking, this new revamped line with the center. And now you have Derek Watt added in. I've seen some good things. We've seen some bad things, but he needs to continue to build, and that's the most – we have to get the run game going, guys. We're not going to be successful at all this year if we don't get Melvin Gordon going. That's first and foremost.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
That's it.
Definitely got to get the run game going. Zach Bentonberger, is he going to see any playing time again?
No, he's
today?
not. He's going to see the cool stadium there.
Yeah.
He's going to do a lot of sightseeing, maybe Twitter, maybe take some photos. What do you guys think?
Again, Mettenberger, yeah. I mean, he might see some time, but it's pretty obvious that he's on his way out.
I think special.
I don't think I think it's too late. I mean, he's at the bottom now of the depth chart, and he's really earned his way.
You saw Burke kind of overlap him last week, so
it's pretty obvious. I think the writing's on the wall, and he may see it, some time just to to get an extended look, just an extra chance. But I think it's just way too late. I don't know what you think, Jake.
I agree. It'd be a different aspect considering what last week's was when you started off Kellen Clemens going the entire first half, have Burke finish the entire second half. Now you got Rivers that will most likely, depending on how his performance goes, he'll at least play the entire first half tonight. Then how do you split the time between your 3 remaining quarterbacks at that point in time? How much time are you going to give Kellen Clemens? How much time are you going to give Burke? And if you even bother to factor Mettenberger in there. And if he does not play today, then
he'll be cut.
We can pretty much consider it statistically on the sheet that he is done off of this roster, no question about it.
And he's really earned that. I mean, everyone you've seen see him practice and play, he's earned that 100%.
Well, so has Mettenberger. He's earned his spot.
I meant Mettenberger.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's earned the right to not play. Yeah. He's been bad.
With all that being said, and I agree with all of that, I still think it was an awesome move bringing him in because you never know. It costs nothing.
You have to take a look.
I'm a big fan of moves like that.
Have to take a look.
So anybody out there that's going to be criticizing the Chargers for bringing in Mettenberger after it was a big failure,
not at all.
Failure of what?
No
and who knows? Maybe he comes out and throws 4 touchdowns today. Who knows? Another thing that I think that we need to see, you had kind of mentioned it a little bit with the running game, is we need to see the offensive line needs to be gelling together.
Yes.
This is the 3rd game. Nobody loves Slauson more than I do. I'm so happy that they brought in a center. Fluker, I'm assuming, still isn't going to be playing. We haven't really heard a whole lot
He's going to take
some
time off,
which is fine with me.
Sure.
I think everything starts with the middle of our offensive line, and our offensive line. I need to see them knowing what they're doing, looking like they've been working together for years and years, and I think that's pretty important. How important is it to you, Mikey, to see the offensive line gelling today? Do you think that this is where it has to happen?
Oh, definitely, and like Justin touched upon, I mean, for me, it starts with the running game. I'm really, really excited about Melvin Gordon, and we know that when they're called to, they can gel together and pass protect.
Sure.
But what I haven't seen them do is run block,
aggressively,
and so get that push up there in front. And so I look forward to seeing today. Like obviously you got to keep Phillips safe, got to keep the starter safe, but it'll be very, very important for me to see that line not just play well. I think for me to see them dominate. I really do, because I think if you see that, then those expectations that we have for the offense, because we're saying, Keelan Allen's going to be awesome, Travis Benjamin, but if they're mediocre, then that really, come the regular season is going to really give me some pause, and I'm going to lower my expectations. But if they can go ahead and dominate today, then I really feel like all that hype that we have is for real.
Yeah, and for me, Spencer Pulley, and I know Jake wanted to touch on. I'm going to hit on it quickly. We're going to get a good look at this kid and taking the place of DJ today, right? So let's see how it goes. As you alluded to, need to set the tone on the line of scrimmage. You have to set the tone. We haven't seen this team. It's nice that you're running the football. It's nice. It's cute. It's almost cute. Now prove it against a defensive line that's formidable in this league. I think Pat Williams is still there. There's some good guys there. Against a stout run defense, I like Minnesota. This is the ultimate test. I love that they're playing Minnesota this week on the road in a hostile environment. Set the tone early with the run game and roadblock and pave the way for Melvin Gordon. It'd be fun to watch and see if they could do it.
Absolutely. Again, we're talking about the offensive line and how vital it is for this team now. And, of course, with the key additions of Matt Slauson at the center position, what he's already been able to do to get this unit gelling a little bit better. You see a lot of attitude coming out with it.
Exactly.
And, again, the focal point today, of course, is going to be Spencer Pulley at the guard position, because how about this from a kid from Vanderbilt,
Intrigued,
undrafted,
right?
undrafted, and he's already leapfrogging into the starting lineup over a guy in Kenny Wiggins who's been with this team for a while now.
Point.
So I'm very intrigued to see what this kid has. He was, one of the top-rated centers that was out of the league that was kind of just flown under the radar, but he can also play guard. Yep. So having him in this position that he's not normally in.
Versatility.
That's
what we do.
The Chargers love that.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see and watch Spencer Pulley and see how he gels with the first team today.
And it's funny you mentioned Kenny Wiggins. I wondered before, I think earlier when we had discussed, I think we went through the depth chart with Jason. I wondered what role he had, and apparently it's not much of a role. Because he's getting leapfrogged here. Yeah. So that was interesting. Just hearing that name, and just thinking back to when we went through that depth chart. Who might be there? And you always have those surprises. So this is one of them, I think. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And another thing that I think we need to be looking at is on offensive side of the ball is the wide receivers. Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
I was.
You're just disappointed.
I mean, for one game.
First game.
You can't.
Sure.
You can't.
It's his first
base
game
your
with the
opinion.
Chargers.
But if that was the Travis Benjamin we're going to get, which I don't think
it won't be.
It's that and that's what I'm wondering. We need to see him look more comfortable.
Sure.
He looked like I had mentioned last week, and then Jake said it looked like it was his first game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it was. So I think that we need to see a little bit more out of him today.
Yeah.
It's not make it or break it for him. He comes out and have a crappy game. That doesn't mean the season's over for him.
No.
But I'd really like to see more comfortable looking Travis Benjamin. Tyrell Williams, I need to see if he's ready to be a starter in this league.
Good point.
I think that what I've seen so far, I've been very impressed. I mean, you guys are the one who introduced him to the world. We're going to say it was his career was launched here in the San Diego Sports Junkies.
we just had a crush on him. That's all. And he's becoming our boyfriend.
But and he looks like a starter in this league this year. He really does. I'm ready to see him be the number 2 guy. That's
yes.
I don't know if it's too early for that, but that's
Not at
what
all.
I'm ready for.
Why would it be?
And Javonte Herndon, I'm a little bit worried about him. We haven't seen him play yet. He's a bubble guy anyways, and I don't know. Maybe Jake can let us know if he even knows if he's going to be playing today. Because if we don't see him today, he might have a real tough time making this squad. What are your thoughts, Jake, on the wide receivers?
There's one thing that we have to factor into it when we're talking about the performances of Travis Benjamin last week and, Tyrell Williams. Can he answer a lot of the question marks? Well, this will be the first time that both of those receivers have gotten real preseason action with Phillip Rivers at the quarterback.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm excited to see today, to really see how that number 1 offense with those wide receivers is going to be able to gel, because you already know what the type of chemistry that Phillip Rivers brings to the game.
Right.
The camaraderie he's already built with Tyrell and Travis in practice has been nothing short of phenomenal from all the reports that we've read.
Yep.
So now let's put it on the field. Let's see what they can do with this type of type of dynamic to their offense, because you got 3 really different wide receivers that you're dealing with. That's going to bring a whole new facet to this offense.
Agreed with you. Piggyback off your comments. I love these wide receivers. Going back to what Jason said.
All this time, nobody's even mentioned the best wide receiver on the team because we don't need to. You know?
No, and that's you don't have to, and that just speaks volumes about his play. He's amazing. Yeah. But you factor in the James Jones, Travis
guy
Benjamin.
I want to see step up a little
exactly,
bit.
And this wide receiver core is pretty solid, top to bottom. Now, knock on wood, barring anything. Remember last year we were yearning for Herndon to play and return, and that's how bad last year was, because we were so thin at pretty much every position. A lot of positions of key need. But I'm very intrigued by the wide receivers. Like Jake said, it's going to be fun to see this first team offense fully loaded today.
Yeah, excuse me. I have no worries about whatever Travis Benjamin does today. I mean, I know we want to see him look good, but it's the preseason, and I always have to remind myself it means absolutely nothing as long as they come out healthy.
But we always say it's nice to look good in the preseason. It look crisp at least.
Let me preface this. I would rather see a healthy Travis Benjamin week 1 than a good Travis Benjamin the third preseason game.
Right.
Exactly.
If he goes out there and completely looks like crap today, I could care less as long as he's healthy week 1, because I do have confidence that he is going to be good for us.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I look around the league and I watch all these players that I'm just looking at, in games, and they're walking away with 1 catch and stuff. And so if that's what it takes for Travis Benjamin to come out healthy with 1 catch, then I'm happy with that.
Sure.
And I mean, like you guys said, today you're gonna see Phillip there, so I expect a lot better play on the offense, because I trust him a lot more than Kelly Clemens and all the other guys. So I think you'll see it. It may not come out in the stats, but again, for me, I really am excited about Travis Benjamin because of what he brings to the field.
Circling back to the quarterbacks, one thing that Jake had said is Rivers is going to play the whole first half. I would personally be, the way that it seems like they've done with him, I'd be surprised if he plays past the first quarter today. I really think that they're going to pull him after the first quarter. I don't think he's going to get the first half.
He might.
We always think about back in the few years ago, the third game, the starter plays the whole first half and even the first series of the third quarter.
Sure.
The Chargers seem to do a little bit differently with Rivers. If he does play the first half, is that something you want to see, Jake? Do you want to see him play the first half, or would you rather him get out there, throw a few passes, and get the hell off the field?
Again, it all depends on performance, because we have to remember that he didn't play at all last week. So now he has to make up for some reps that he didn't have last week.
Live game reps.
Exactly,
not
live game reps. And what is your outcome or your overall finish going to be of these reps? Are you going to be able to put a few in the end zone this time, something that the offense wasn't able to do last week on offense? So if Phillip comes out there and he throws for 17 to 20 for 3 TDs and that's all in the first quarter, then, hey, by all means, get him out of there. But at the same time, I think for the fact that he's not going to be playing next week, we can already predetermine that. So I think you need to get him as many reps as you can today and then get him off the field, and then we'll go into the week 1.
The reps he needs today is not because he needs to get better, though. It's more along the lines he needs to get used to working with the guys that he's working with.
Right, and it's more for them to get the camaraderie with him that they need to get used to, because they're not going to have him out there next week. And who knows what starters are even going to ultimately play next week. We may not even have a good majority of them at all.
You won't have.
So you want to try and get this one last preseason game for the starters from that aspect. Have a good game, have a good connection out there with each other, and then roll into week 1 ready to go.
And I agree. I think you have to play him 2 quarters, because what if they get off to a bad start?
Yeah.
Not to say they would.
Right.
What if? It's going to be loud. Who knows what's going to happen? You could have a fumble. You could have a center drop the ball. Anything quirky. It's the first game, loud environment. I want to see I'd actually like to see them, and I hate to say this, struggle a little bit early. I want to see them face a little.
Really?
Yeah, I do. No, I'm serious. I want to see some. No, I do. No, I want to.
Disapproved by everybody.
Yeah. No, but look, you're facing a Chiefs defense in two weeks now. Essentially, you're going to be on. That's the loudest place to play in the league besides Seattle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a little adversity. I mean, I know it's preseason, and I don't want them to go down 14-0 and look terrible. I'm just saying, if it did happen, I wouldn't mind it, because Phillip Rivers is the calm of the storm.
Yeah.
He gets people together, and they fix it. They fix what's wrong, and I like to see that from the team. Obviously, I want them to get off to a 21-0 start. That would be great. Big plays. But a little adversity wouldn't bug me at all.
I under the adversity. You use 2 different words there. Adversity, I don't mind.
Sure.
Struggle, I do.
I shouldn't have used that. Yeah, poor choice of words by my part.
You've only had a few hours sleep. That's okay.
I have 3.
A couple other things before we move on to the defense. Tight ends. We lost a tight end that we were expecting. Not a huge name.
Sure.
One of those down the depth charts guys that we were expecting some contribution from this year. Opened up some doors for maybe some other guys. Tight end wise, are you worried now? I mean, we have a starting tight end. Justin and I were talking a little bit before the game, and I don't. Antonio Gates, we haven't seen him in the preseason, which is fine. We don't need to see him in the preseason. Him and Phillip Rivers have the camaraderie. He knows what he's doing. He's not the youngest guy on the field. He's the oldest guy on the field.
Sure.
If he goes down,
you don't want him to pull a Tony Romo.
No.
Don't put Tony Romo on the field.
Oh, maybe we'll talk about that in the last segment, because Mikey showed me something pretty funny yesterday.
Yeah.
But he goes down. Now we have Hunter Henry, who we all have big, high hopes for.
Sure.
Jake guaranteed he was going to win the Rookie of the Year.
Sources, buddy.
Sources.
But after that, we have a bunch of guys that, unless you're a Charger fan, most people really haven't heard of.
Sure.
Are you worried about our depth at tight end? We have a lot of guys on the roster, but, that doesn't mean anything.
Not worried right now. Waiver wire's coming up here after some cuts.
That's the one position I think they might be looking on
that
the
and
wire.
Defensive end, because we're real thin right now. Obviously, we're not going to mention his name.
We don't have to mention 99 problems.
No, not but yeah, no, I think tight end's a key need for them. You've got 2 solid tight ends on the roster right now. Then you go with McGrath, and then I think there's another one, but I forget his name at this current time. He might know. But 3 guys, you're getting thin. Yeah. I don't know if McGrath's the kind of guy they might want to bring in another veteran. So we'll see. Definitely nothing to be concerned about at this point. I think once cuts come, TT will get his he'll do his due diligence and get a guy in here.
Yeah, Jake, do you think that's one position they're going to be looking for to maybe add to, or are you comfortable with the tight ends that are on the roster?
There's one thing that I think we can all say that we've learned over our years and years and years of watching football, especially in the preseason, that the depth chart is always evolving.
Yeah,
sure. It's always evolving. And I like the fact that you guys brought that up about free agency, because the Chargers are going to be active in it here in the next couple of weeks when people start getting released, obviously after this weekend, first round of cuts. So you're going to have a lot of players that may surprisingly be available that wasn't expected. And, you look at the tight end depth right now, I'm in the same boat. I'm not that worried right now. Not overly concerned, considering the fact that, the 2 players that you have is your number 1
and 2 we're pretty happy with.
That's right. And,
would you like to see a veteran?
I wouldn't mind
over McGrath.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind, honestly. I really like the Jeff Cumberland signing when he was because of what he can do. Yes, and because how that's going to translate into helping Melvin Gordon progress for this season. That is why I like that move. So if you can bring in someone that's going to rival that position and it helps another player, then I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I don't think it's a big deal.
Not in week 3 of the preseason?
Well, not in general. I mean, you have 1 and 2. You usually don't play the number 3. I mean, he gets a little bit of time. And so you're going to, like Jake said, you're going to find a guy, like you guys have been saying, you're going to find a guy in free agency after cuts, probably after second cuts, I think, that's going to come in just to add depth. Because really that's all you're doing is adding depth to that position.
Sure.
And maybe a player who can also, help in some kind of special teams if that's a need be. But again, I think it just really solidifies the opportunity for Hunter Henry. That's really what it does. It just makes, we were always just arguing how much will we see him play, how often will he be out there. I think this pretty much solidifies the fact that he'll be out there. He's the number 2. Let's roll.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I agree with you.
Now, first round of cuts are they Tuesday? Do you know, Jake?
It's either Monday or Tuesday. I know that people have actually already started making their cuts from their games now, so it could even happen earlier, I think.
And then the next round is Sunday, right? I mean, it's Tuesday, and then you play everybody plays the last preseason game on Friday, I believe, and then or Saturday, and then Sunday is the last round of cuts. So it's going to be real active, and I agreed with what you said earlier. Is I think that the Chargers will be active. I think that possibly defensive line help, but I think that they're really going to be scouring. If they could bring somebody in offensively that can add to the blocking aspect from the tight end, I think that would be the way to go. Other positions, I'm pretty happy with. I don't need anybody coming in from the secondary. I don't need any other 10-string running backs coming in. What I need is maybe a solid blocking tight end and maybe some D-line help. But tight end really is where it's at for me right now. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Chargers on the defensive side of the ball. And then after that, we'll open it up and we'll talk about anything, including if you want to talk about 99 problems or somebody else wants to come and talk about 99 problems.
We don't need to talk about 99.
We don't want to.
Frustration.
But somebody might want to. We'll be right back. Cali Comfort.
How about them Chargers? Know they talk you Super Bowl. How about them Chargers? You know they on the road again. Well, his name is LT, a true MVP. You know we'd love to lift up that Lombardi trophy. A touchdown machine, you know what I mean. Put him in the red zone, TD guarantee. We got Chris Chambers on the left, Vincent Jackson on the right. Let the rivers flow with Juicy Casey all night. Offensive weaponry plus intimidating D. Turner got a game plan, we gon' run the AFC. Now that lightning is striking, getting out at the right time. Igor Jamal Castillo, Super Bowl.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSB.com.
Still loving it, man. Still loving that song. Waiting a long time to actually start getting pumped up for the season. We're San Diego Sports Junkies. We are live at Cali Comfort, home of the Low and Slow Barbecue here in Spring Valley on Troy Street. You should come on down, check out the food, check out the drinks, and check out the football. San Diego Sports Junkies, we're going to be doing live shows like this throughout the year. Pregame, we do pregame before every single Chargers game, but we're going to do some more on-location stuff. We're going to do some stuff down at the stadium and stuff with our friends here at Cali Comfort, of course. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, what are we looking for third game of the preseason, Chargers on defense? One thing that I really need to see, and this is going to be more of a general statement, I need to see our run defense looking good like they did game 2. I don't care if it's the 1s, the 2s, the 3, or the 4s. It's a scheme thing, and I think that the scheme needs to be good. These guys need to do good. I don't want to see the 1s come in and shut everything down, and then for the rest of the game, the defense looks like a sieve on running downs. I need to see them all looking good. I need to them all looking sharp. And I need to see the communication where they're all on the same page. Mikey, what are you looking for today on defense?
Well, now that Coach McCoy spoke, go ahead. I need to see this. I need to see that.
Well, the good
and
news,
if you don't,
the good
I'll
news
kill you.
is Cali Comfort does not serve Ovaltine, so.
No. We just asked, too. Yeah, no server here is serving Ovaltine.
I'm going to be very interested to see how the defensive line plays, as always, but now more because of the lack of depth that has now occurred because of injuries and because of, obviously, suspension.
Right.
So I'm going to be curious to see how they do, and I'm really curious to see how the cornerbacks do. I feel like Brandon Flowers is so hit and miss. And
He's looked good.
He's looked good at times.
We can't say he hasn't looked good.
You know, I'm going to interrupt you both here. That interception by Brandon Flowers, while it was great, it was fluky. Let's be honest.
Sure.
It's just a fluky play.
But he made a great play on it.
He did give up two decent length passes, but
he got
both
turned
of those,
around.
To me, he looked like he actually had pretty good coverage. It's
Yeah.
just a good throw.
Yeah.
One he was kind of he didn't know where the hell the ball was.
That was the one right before he got the interception.
Sure.
Was that play where he got turned around?
But like you said, hit or miss. Agreed. He's not going to be.
Not like he was burned, though.
We don't categorize Brandon Flowers as a shutdown corner anymore. He's a solid NFL corner. He's not going to give you what Jason Verrett gives you. So we can all agree on that.
Yeah, but I just really feel like Casey Hayward has looked really good, in my opinion.
Sure.
And so I'm really curious because I think he almost deserves a shot over Flowers. And so I want to see what he does. I want to see what the cornerbacks do. I just want to see that. To me, is a battle, and I feel a lot better with Hayward out there.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Casey Hayward. I'm in love with this kid. I'm glad they picked him up. What a solid signing. I've seen him make some great plays in the preseason. He's been kind of all over the field. I don't know how they're going to use him. Obviously, you're going to throw him out in nickel packages. That's good. He's probably going to be your third corner, but like you said, you alluded to, maybe he's going to be in on certain packages where he'll be the cornerback number 2. So I just love that we're solid at that position and the dilemma that we have at safety too. So the back end is strong, I think, in my opinion. I believe that the depth there is intriguing to me, and it should show today during the game.
Safety, yes, competition's been there for sure. You definitely want to see a lot of what Adrian McDonald and Dexter McCoyle can still bring out. You know, it's interesting you bring it up on the defensive back aspect from the corner situation beyond our 3 starters that we have.
Sure.
You start looking at Stevie Williams, and you start looking at Craig Mayer, which if you watch some plays from Steve Williams last week, it was hold, grab, and a lot of stuff that he wasn't flagged for.
Sure.
And for a guy like that who's become, he's really in a make-or-break season for himself for as long as he's been with this team. And he's had kind of not that impressive since he's been out there on the field.
How do you rate Craig Mayer? Because he's another intriguing guy. He's a younger guy that people say they reached. What is, when you watch the tape and when you can watch the replays, what do you see from Craig Mayer?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. But this was the Craig Mayer show of last year.
Sure.
Is that when it came to preseason time, especially in practices, nobody was talking about it, or it was either a negative comment. But when it came to game time, he made his reps and he made them count. But to be perfectly honest, this preseason, you haven't really seen that much of him thus far.
Right.
And maybe it's just from a lack of a better word, of the ball's not going his direction, or the opportunity's not there for him to make plays. But to me, it's just a big gray cloud at this point.
Sure.
I really don't know what to think about Craig until he gets a decent opportunity to play out there.
Right.
And probably we're not going to see that until next week, for him to get some decent time out there on the field.
I'll tell you what. Well, first of all, we all know that Craig Mayer's getting 3 interceptions.
Okay.
But the interesting thing you said is
That's funny.
something interesting you said was we haven't really heard a whole lot from him in the preseason. Now, of course, that means that he's lacking the flash. You're not seeing the passes defensed. You're not seeing the interceptions.
Sure.
But that also means that the ball's not going his way. And, for those of you out there, you might be Craig Mayer haters. There's a lot of them out there for some reason. So I'm not sure why. That's good news. That means that he's got his guy covered most of the time. We used to have that kind of talk about Quentin Jammer all the time. Everybody used to say, Quentin Jammer, during the prime of his career, he's not intercepting the ball, mostly because the guy couldn't catch. I think he knows he couldn't catch.
Sure.
But ultimately, it's because he had his guy covered, and they were all thrown to the side of Antonio Cromartie, who was making the plays, getting burned a little bit, making big plays, but most of the time they weren't going his way. And I'm not trying to say that Craig Mayer is as good as Quentin Jammer. I think that'd be a ridiculous thing to say. But I think that he is playing solid, and he's not getting any credit for that solid play because he's not making any flash. And I think that Craig Mayer versus Stevie Williams is something that we need to really be watching today.
Definitely.
Because, Williams, you're right. He was besides that one game last year where he had all those interceptions, he's been a disappointment. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's been I know he had some injury problems, but we were talking so much big stuff when we drafted him. And then he was hurt the first year. And then we were talking, wait till we get Williams back. He's really underperformed, I think. And you know, for some reason, maybe it's because everybody hates him, I've really taken a liking to Craig Mager. And I'm ready to see him solidify that fourth DB spot.
It's like a kind of Stockholm syndrome.
Of course, we all know who the teacher is now, using those big words. But do you think that it's you know, this is Craig Mager's chance to solidify? He looks like he's playing a little bit before Stevie Williams anyways, but anybody here, you guys think that this is his chance to solidify that fourth DB spot and maybe his spot on this team?
I mean, it has to be. It has to be. For Steve Williams, this is make or break for him because it is a contract year for him. So either he performs or he's getting released after this season. I don't think he's shown enough to be able to hold a stable roster spot on this team that you can see value in it. And personally, if who was it, Terrence Williams that we were really excited about? If he did not get injured, honestly, I believe that this is the guy that would have been the main competition for Steve Williams for that fifth DB spot. And that we may not be talking about Steve Williams right now if it wasn't for him going down. But now that we are, and he's now trying his best to make the benefit of the factor to say, hey, that's one less piece of competition that I have to face to get on this roster. Now I only have a finite few.
Another position to be looking at during cuts, and I'm not even kidding. I mean, you bring a guy in that might be cut somewhere else. It's at depth, at least because, like you said, you alluded to, when you don't hear somebody's name, it's not always a bad thing. Right. We don't hear anything about him. It's not a good thing either. You know, for me, I love Craig Mager's upside. I do, but he's got to start showing it. He's got to start, and maybe, like you said, maybe it's just not because they're throwing his way, but you got to at some point make a play. You got to stand out in the crowd, and that's how you win jobs.
I think just a little bit divergent thinking here from Justin. I think
divergent. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't yell at me with that vocabulary.
We're diverse. Come on.
Unbelievable.
I think this is an opportunity for Craig Mager, like you said, where he's not doing it, where you're not hearing his name. I think if Stevie Williams keeps, you know, not doing well, because they said there was a lot of times he could have been like he's overly aggressive. If one day he does get caught in that way, he could lose. You know, Mager could win that job just by default. The fact that he didn't do anything badly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's just not doing poorly. So I don't think he needs to actually win this job. I just need to hold it. And I think he's the front runner for that fourth spot.
Sure.
You know, in front of Williams.
And that's it. Yeah, and like we were talking, I just don't see the fourth spot held down by anybody. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a solid position, and if they have to go out on the waiver wire, then they're going to do it. Like defensive end and maybe even tackle. I mean, they're always going to be looking for O-line help. So we'll see.
Just to be correct, you know, when in doubt, go to ESPN.com and look at the stat sheet. But the box score from last week was Craig Mager had 2 tackles, one of them solo. Steve Williams had 1 and 1. So if you're looking about either how much playing time these guys are getting or how much plays are available for them to actually make, it is very very fine.
Sure.
And so when you have the opportunity to make plays out there, you better make them count.
Sure.
You know, it's a good point that you made. I mentioned it before. Steve Williams grabbing on every play. You're right. I remember seeing that now, and I don't know why it didn't.
I think they brought it up in the telecast that one of the plays where he had a guy
because there was no flag thrown.
Yeah,
no,
he got
and that was
away
what I
with
missed.
He got away with a lot. Adrian Phillips, Dexter McCoyle. I was really high on Dexter McCoyle after the first game. I really liked what I saw.
Yeah.
I think these are a couple other bubble guys that this game is going to be important for. And I would love, if I had to choose between these two guys, Dexter McCoy all day long. You know, I know that Adrian Phillips came in and he played, what's the word we're going to use, maybe admirably last year?
Admirably, yes.
Let me look at my vocabulary words.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let the teacher school you.
I don't like to use
Like he's saying, use this one.
Four-syllable words too often. But he played, okay.
Sure.
For by the time we got down to him after Crybaby wasn't playing and whatever. Anyways, Dexter McCoyle, I've been really happy with, and I would like to see him make the team over Adrian Phillips, who, like I said, he has a little bit more scheme. He knows the scheme a little bit better, but I think there's a lot more upside with Dexter McCoyle. What do you think, Jake, on the safety position?
Well, Adrian Phillips was kind of the hero of the preseason practices. Every time you read about the practices that were happening, he was making another interception and another interception. Yeah. But then when it's come to game time, he's kind of fizzled out. He really hasn't made, the standout play that you've been seeing this type of consistency role. With Dexter McCoy, especially in week 1, it was quite the opposite. He was there making plays. He made a great defensive block in the end zone that saved a touchdown. And, even on special teams, he's able to make his mark.
Yes.
So this is a really good competition. And then you throw in Adrian McDonald in there out of Houston is another intriguing guy. So there's so much competition at this safety position, and it's really actually going to be unfortunate whatever one of these guys the Chargers are going to be forced to let go.
Agreed. And this is the heartbreaking thing. I'm a Dexter McCoy fan. From day one when they signed the kid from the Canadian League, I go, dude, 6'4" safety, sign me up any day. He's made some plays. He had that fumble scoop in Tennessee, showing his alertness,
right
his
place,
awareness.
right time, but he didn't kick it around the field like a lot of people do.
But like we just mentioned, you don't hear anything from the Magers and the Stevie Williams of the world because you got to do what you got to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to stand out in the crowd. If you're going to win a job, you got to win the damn job. Dude.
Right.
Dexter McCoy to me, he's got to step up in this game and show something because Adrian Phillips looks pretty solid. That this depth, and just like you touched on, this is a good battle, man. This is a great battle, and these are why we watch preseason games, because that's the intriguing part.
Mm-hmm.
When you have battles at certain positions, you watch it all game long, and who's going to be the guy to step up today?
Absolutely, sure.
We got David Drugmeyer has joined us in the chat room too. So we don't have phone. We're on location here at Cali Comfort, home of the Low and Slow Barbecue. We don't have the opportunity to. We don't have the opportunity here to take phone calls, but I'd love to hear your input through the chat room, anyways. So keep that up. I actually wasn't looking before when you were typing in there. So keep it going, and we'll be bringing in what you have to say also. We're going to run a real quick commercial here. We're going to come back. We're going to be talking to people here live on location here at Cali Comfort, home of Low and Slow Barbecue, and we're going to be talking. We're going to be doing what the San Diego Sports Junkies do best, and that's bouncing all over the place with no structure.
For lack of a better word.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
We'll be back in just a minute.
Business project that is due. Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects. SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Guys, we're back at Cali Comfort, home of the Low and Slow Barbecue, guys. We're doing a pregame show down here. Get down here, get some drinks, watch some Charger football today. We've got a pretty decent crowd for a 10 a.m. kickoff already.
10 a.m. preseason game kickoff.
For a preseason, but Cali Comfort's always loaded anyway.
45 minutes away, by the way, guys.
Exactly.
45 minutes away from kickoff.
Coming back from break, we're joined by Requested. You can follow him on Twitter. He's a big supporter of the show. He's a San Diego diehard. How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm good. I'm feeling good this morning. I definitely had to come out, support, check you guys out.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What do you want to touch on? What intrigues you most about the preseason game coming up today?
Nothing's off limits, by the way, for you. You can talk about anything you want.
You can even curse once in a while, but we don't encourage it.
Cool, man.
But what intrigues you today? I mean, what are you looking at a certain position? We've been talking about battles at certain positions earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Something that really gets you going, or what?
Yeah, like right before I walked up here, I heard you guys talking about Mager and Dexter McCoy, or some of the secondary guys. Personally, I haven't really gotten to see a lot of Adrian Phillips, at least from what I got to see, but I hear nothing but good things.
Sure.
My biggest concern is probably with the safety position, truthfully, just because, you lose a staple like Weddle.
Yeah.
We don't know what to expect.
Good point.
Adai, he's a hitter, but, I don't know how his coverage skills are. He's young. Sure. And then you got Lowry, who's basically a journeyman, right?
Seasoned vet, yeah.
Right, but then there's some concern there, for me as just a X and O's guy. So, I agree with you guys. I think the secondary is huge. I want to definitely see how that works out because I have some concerns with the back end, the safety position.
Yeah, and we were just touching on the fact that guys need to stand out in the crowd and really make some plays. We have seen Adrian Phillips a little bit. He's been pretty solid this preseason. But Dexter McCoy's been pretty decent too. So, and I root for a kid like that. When you have a 6'4" safety sitting back there with CFL experience, I know it's not the NFL, but guy coming down, you saw Dontrell Inman do it. There are guys that make it in this league. Very intrigued by that. Jake alluded to as well, Adrian McDonald.
Yes.
There's a lot of this. That's what's fun about these games, and we touched on it. I love watching the battles, and it's going to be fun today because you figure most of the starters will be out there for 2+ quarters. So that's what's fun about this.
Yeah, so, you got the safeties, right? And then I really, really want to see the O-line. I mean,
yes.
My biggest concerns, I think, with the O-line in general would be the two players in particular that my biggest concerns with are with Dunlap and Franklin.
Sure.
They seem to just – they don't seem very flexible. They fall, and I know me personally, I cringe every time because they're not the most mobile guys.
We need to enroll them in some yoga classes.
For sure, yeah.
Get them in some yoga. You know, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Learn balance.
They get some balance in them.
Yeah, for sure. And San Diego's a perfect place for that.
Sure,
you can do that
exactly.
every day,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Good-looking people that can help you out.
Yes, sir.
Get on your way. I don't know if you guys have seen a whole lot of Turk. I want to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah.
Intriguing guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
He's young. Went
versatile.
Yeah, heck yeah. Went to USC, and then our O-line's known for kind of moving guys around. I mean, kind of by circumstance. So
sure.
So maybe just be a little progressive and just do it. And just do it anyway, just because chances are we're going to need them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with you. And we were talking about that actually earlier this week on the show. And somebody actually had started getting a conversation with me about Turek specifically,
right.
And said, "Do you think it is, that you could foresee him as the starter further on this season?" And I said, the best thing for Turek right now is to get as many mental reps as he possibly can. With somebody like Slauson that's ahead of him in the depth chart and the starter right now and what he's already been able to bring to the team, I think it's the best thing that you can hope for from Turek's standpoint.
And another point we were kind of alluding to earlier, set the tone today.
For sure.
Let's see this offensive line manhandle some people.
Yeah,
I love Slauson, love the attitude, but you know what? Prove it. Let's go. Let's run those power formations. Let's get Derek Watt going into those holes. Let's blow it up. Let's see Melvin Gordon get behind some people. You saw what he did on a bounce out play the other week. He took probably a 2-yard loss last year, and he bounced it outside because he made the right decision. He saw his end blocker, a good block on the end there. Could have been holding, but he got outside and gained 15 yards, 12 yards.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was
play
nice.
Too. Yeah,
it's the development and the growth of his progression now, and we want to see Melvin and that offensive line hit the hole.
For sure. I think I actually do articles for the East Village Times.
Nice.
Real good online publication, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on that. It's kind of weird you mentioned that because I mentioned that play. I mean, it was a sample size, right? But you can just see the kid's more confident. He's hitting the hole. He's busting. He's just breaking runs.
Last year, he would have probably been in the
backfield. That probably would have been a loss last year for sure.
Because he has that ability to bounce it. But last year, he was so hesitant that he waited, and it just was too long. And he made a quick decision, and I thought he did a good job there.
Definitely. And you also mentioned Watt. That's another guy I'm super big on. I went to the joint practices at Qualcomm, and I saw him, and he's a lot taller than I thought. I was kind of looking for a more stocky guy.
Big old boy.
But I'm kind of glad that he is tall because, Riv, if you got a pulse, man, and you're out and you got a number on your back, he's going to throw the ball to you. So.
And if you can pass pro, Phillip loves you.
Oh, heck yeah.
So you can be in there anytime you want if you're going to block for Phillip Rivers.
Most definitely.
A couple things from the chat room here. David Drugmeyer's in there helping us out. DJ Fluker's not going to be playing today. We were kind of expecting that.
Sure.
Brandon Meebane's not going to be playing today.
That's not good.
Now
that was late scratch or what? We haven't been following on Twitter right now.
We haven't been following either. I'm curious if that's basically a decision of we've seen
veteran time
out
off.
Of him. We don't need any more out of him, or if he's fighting something. I'm not sure because we were hoping for one of the things that I led off the show with was our defensive line, or basically our run defense, and Mebane is a huge part of that. Another thing that David brought up in the chat room, and we're going to bounce back a little bit here, back to the secondary. One thing that people don't talk about is you talk about you like McCoy's speed. First of all, for some reason, Justin loves tall guys.
Well, I'm short, so I just aspire to be like him.
I'm surprised you'll even hang out with me.
Exactly.
All you do is talk about height. You love the
when
the
you see
tall
a 6'4" safety,
guys.
though, I mean, it stands out.
Yeah. One thing that David brings up is he's got the speed to go with the size.
Sure.
He's not just a big, tall guy back there.
It's a good point by David.
He has the speed, and he doesn't get beat with speed.
Sure.
And he's a fan as well. And I'm really hoping to see something out of McCoy. But when was the last time we had a tall, fast safety? Maybe never?
Never.
So
Rodney Harrison wasn't a big dude. I mean, he was what? Maybe 5'11".
He wasn't fast either.
No, but he just played solid defense.
We got both of those guys, and with if McCoy's going to get back there, maybe we need we have the hitting. We understand we have the hitting.
Sure.
Maybe not the wrapping up as well as we'd like. Although this year in preseason I've seen a lot more of that.
Right.
But we need a little bit of speed back there. Weddle didn't really have the speed either. It'd be interesting to see if McCoy can work his way into the starting lineup and maybe take over back there. Lowry, you mentioned Lowry earlier.
He's kind of a...
You can call him journeyman. You can call him, solid veteran. He hasn't flashed, but he hasn't looked bad out there either. I'm comfortable going into the season with him as our starting safety. I don't think it's a downgrade over what we had last year. What do you guys think about him? I know Jake was a little bit... I remember when we brought him in, Jake, you said, well, this isn't the last move they're going to make. This is just one of the guys. But so far, he hasn't looked bad. I mean, what are your thoughts on him, on Lowry so far?
I mean, it's... when you compare it to what Eric Weddle was in that backfield, there is going to be a significant drop-off no matter who it is. And, you look at a couple of the plays from him in the preseason, and there was a play that Verrett actually let his guy go expecting the safety help. Lowry was late, and, you'd expect some corrections on that he needs to. And this is what preseason's for, for a new team, for him to integrate himself into that system. Yes, I admit that I was not that high on him just because of the fact that he was kind of a journeyman before he got here. And, aside from the 3 or the 4 interceptions that he had last year for Indy, nothing really stood out behind that. So, but as far as what I've read, what I've heard from other teammates, he's really integrated himself very well to the system. And, you'd have to expect some big things if this is the guy that you're coming in and expecting to hold that mantle for Eric Weddle. And speaking of safeties, actually, you were talking about people not playing today. Jaleel Addae will actually not be playing today as well as for the third straight game. Well, Jatavius Brown.
Awesome. We just got done talking about how much depth we have in the preseason at this position.
We're gonna have to see it now.
I'll get to see, and like we said, make a play, stand out in the crowd, do something.
Jatavius Brown's interesting because we were talking about him on our Wednesday
He will play
show.
today?
He will not.
Oh,
and he was just practicing. We were kind of expecting to see him.
Maybe that fourth preseason game, they'll just let him play the whole game.
It's gonna be interesting. But Jaleel Addae not playing. What's your thoughts on that? Everything I've seen from him so far this preseason, and I'm not even counting the interception because you mentioned that the 3 or 4 interceptions from Lowry. Interceptions for a safety are not a telling stat all the time, and that was he got himself in the right position and he made the catch, but ultimately, there was nothing to that interception. It was thrown right to him.
Throw, yeah.
I do like what I've seen from Jaleel Addae this year, though. I was really, really hard on him in the offseason with his wrapping up. Big hitter, but he knocks himself stupid sometimes with those hits.
Yeah.
And he
doesn't always make the tackle.
Doesn't know how to make his hands touch each other, I've seen a different Jaleel Addae so far this preseason, and I'm hoping the reason why he's out right now is because they've seen a different Jaleel Addae. They've seen what they need. They don't need him knocking himself stupid anymore. Let's get into the season with him.
Can you you mentioned a couple of guys that aren't playing, so can you give me somewhat of an idea what the secondary might look like, when the game first starts, just because you're saying Noah Dye, and then I know we talked about Phillips, so...
Well, you probably figure Dwight Lowry will be out there.
Right.
Adrian Phillips probably starts the game.
Yeah,
and then you're going to see McDonald.
Maybe Stuck. Maybe they don't. I would prefer they don't play Stuckey just because we got to get the younger guys.
And we touched on Stuckey last week, Wednesday. Safety skills, okay. great special teamer.
Absolutely.
He's the Kasim
I was
Osgood of our
straight
team.
on that, by the way, because I was doubting his special teams, his special team skills.
Yeah, so I mean,
on Wednesday,
and we love
Jake
Daryl.
was able to set me straight.
I think we all love Stuckey, but I don't think at safety they'll probably play him there just to get some reps, but who knows? He's such a special team standout. We'll see. I'd love to see. I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad some of these guys aren't starting.
Another guy that I want to see watching the game along next to us is Jason Verrett. I don't need to see him out there.
No, he needs to sit down. He needs to be out of this game.
I would rather him not be playing.
Just
as
my
well.
opinion. If he gets one series, good, get him out.
I've loved what I've seen from him so far in the preseason. I know that these guys they do need reps, but
sure.
You talk about this a whole other subject, but you talk about people talking about whether the NFL needs to go from 4 to 2 preseason games. I say leave it at 4, and if you're a smart coach, you only play him in 2, and we don't need to see him. I think. What do you think, Jake? Do you think that this if we start sitting too many guys week 3 of the preseason, does that start screwing up these guys getting used to working with each other, or what do you think they should be doing?
I mean, it can't necessarily help because you already know that a majority of these guys aren't going to be playing next week. So you want to be as well prepared as you can when you're going into Kansas City week 1. Same reason why Phillip Rivers should be playing, in my opinion, 2 quarters for this game.
At least.
Because he didn't play last week and because he won't be playing next week. So
you got to get in tune with your number ones.
Yeah.
You have to. And we just alluded to Travis Benjamin. You have to get on the same page as these guys.
Right. And when you're integrating new pieces into where, guys that are going to be getting an opportunity to play in place of, either guys getting rest or people getting injured, you really have to know what you have with this team and how you ultimately integrate that with the other 10 guys that are on the field.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that some of these guys are not playing, not from an injury standpoint, but just from giving these other guys behind them in the depth chart an opportunity.
Now, one thing that we wanted to do, during this last segment, bouncing all over the place, of course.
Like we normally do.
Jake wanted to go around and everybody pick the one player that we're really going to be keeping our eyes on today. One player that has the opportunity to either make it or break it. One guy that you're going to be watching. And since I'm the one talking right now, I get to go first. And I'm so happy that nobody's even mentioned this guy yet. And I hope that I take
so it's not Craig Mager.
It's not Craig Mager. I hope I'm stealing somebody else's guy. That's why I'm going first. That's Turek Williams.
Okay.
Turek Williams is a guy that I was
like it.
I was not sure at the beginning of the preseason. I was not sure if he was even gonna if he was gonna be a bubble guy because he's had so many injury problems. Everybody talks about the great potential, but we don't have a chance to see very much of him. I've loved in the little bit we've seen from him. I love his special teams, but Turek Williams has been an animal on the field this year and this preseason, and I'm really going to be watching him because I thought he was a bubble guy.
He might have solidified his spot already. I mean,
think he's
in my
a guy
opinion.
That has a real opportunity to get some reps on defense this year, make some plays on defense, and really, really be that other guy on special teams. Stuckey can't be the only guy. We need other guys to go out there. Kasim Osgood was not the only guy out on special teams.
Right.
He's the one that just stood out the most and was the best guy out there.
Sure.
But other guys have to make plays, and I'm trying to remember his name now. God damn, I forgot it. He went to Dallas, backup linebacker. He left us and went to Dallas. Gatchkar.
Yes.
Gatchkar was another player.
Andrew Gatchkar.
That when he finally got his time on the defense, he played well, but he was a special teams ace. He was huge on his special teams. And Turek Williams, I see that coming out of him where he's going to be a special teams guy and he's going to be a guy that gets some reps and maybe comes into his own. What do you think? Who's somebody that you're looking for?
I don't. I haven't seen any Javonte Herndon, and it's probably going to sound kind of cruel, but he's somebody that I would think would be an easy cut, just because I think that the wide receiver position, you always want to have a lot of options. We like to spread the offense wide and things, and I'm a huge Tyrell Williams guy.
Sure. So is this show.
Yeah. So I kind of feel as if Javonte Herndon's spot is pretty expendable.
Sure.
And I haven't seen a drop of him. So I think if we're saying make or break, I think he's like a break. I don't know that he's even really got a legitimate shot. And with the O-line stuff and things like that, you want to have as many options for guys that are going to be helpful down the stretch. I don't know if I see Herndon as that type of guy. Rather, maybe get another offensive lineman if he doesn't maybe stick, and then get more time for Tyrell.
I'm going to be looking at Spencer Pulley today. That position really intrigues me, and more specifically, not just for the fact that this kid is an undrafted free agent out of Vanderbilt and already leapfrogging Kenny Wiggins in the depth chart, But the fact it was Matt Slosson's quote about him, that the fact that this guy is a rookie, but he plays with an attitude and a mindset of a 3 to 4 year vet.
Those comments
really
right there,
got me.
They stick in your mind.
Yes.
It's not, doesn't mean he's going to be a starter, but that sticks, dude.
Yes.
When veterans start saying that about rookies, it's over. I mean, you start getting the respect of your peers. It's good stuff. I'm gonna go D-line. I got to see something out of Corey Liuget.
Interesting.
I haven't
he has
heard.
been quiet.
I'm gonna say his name, and I apologize. When we drafted Joey Bosa, and we had Mebane, and I figured Corey Liuget on the other end. I go, man, this front line is formidable. It's going to be respectable. It's going to get after the quarterback, and it's going to allow the linebackers to do their job. And I haven't heard anything from him yet. And doesn't mean he's not doing things. He's probably getting double teams. I don't watch, as closely as other people do, but I haven't heard his name. I am a big Liuget fan, and I love Corey Liuget.
It's interesting that you say that before the third game of the preseason, because if you remember, we came out before the third game of the preseason against the San Francisco 49ers, and it was the Corey Liuget show.
Yes. It was like, I own you, and I'm going to take you to the mat. And it was like every play.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a guy that I need to hear from. And I need to see it against a formidable opponent. The Minnesota Vikings are a playoff team last year. They're a good team.
This would be interesting to see because we have now I believe it was our defensive line coach or our offensive line coach who actually came over from Minnesota.
Yes, O-line coach,
yes.
I believe.
So now we're going to have some integral knowledge of that. He's probably passed some knowledge to Corey that he can utilize. And
well, wouldn't you like to just hear from him?
For sure.
It doesn't mean Corey's not doing his job. He probably is, and he's going to be solid. But you need to see it once in a while.
Yeah, you need to see him wrecking fools out there.
And we don't want to. And I'm kind of, he's getting long in the tooth a little bit. So let's see how this is going. I want to see him make plays. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I like the Corey Liuget actually. I think that's a good call. SoCal Trav, he has joined us. He's not live down here, but he's in the chat room.
Tell him I need to have some words with him.
I don't have the proper equipment for him to phone in because he was hoping to phone in, but we would like to hear from him anyways through the chat room. I know David Drogmeyer has been chatting in with us, but.
Well, first off, I wanted to thank you for joining us.
Oh, man, guys, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I wanted to shout your website, East Village Times.
Yep, on Twitter, so make sure everybody checks
Follow
that out.
Requested.
Yeah, requested, nothing fancy. Just keep it simple. It's RIQUESTED.
Yes, sir. Give him a follow. Big Bolts fan, obviously.
Yes.
We appreciate you joining us, dude.
Guys, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's awesome.
We
love talking Charger football, man.
Thank you, guys.
Fun.
Yes, sir.
We got a couple of other comments in the chat room. I'm gonna. Well, I think we'll actually stay here. We only got about a half hour left, so instead of going to break, I think that we'll just stay right here. And a couple things. Number one, SoCal Trav chose his player, and it's
hang on one second before we let SoCal Trav speak.
Yeah.
Did we break our teleportation device or some means of travel to where he is not sitting here with us right now? I mean,
I don't get it either because let me tell you something. He offered to carpool people down here.
I was one of them.
And he was not able to make it. So I hope you have a doctor's note or something, Trav, because we were really looking forward to seeing you. He's got to work. What a bummer. He responded. He's got to work.
Then I will retract my previous statement because I respect that man very, very much.
Unfortunately, as sucky as work is, we all still have to do it. David Drogmeyer, but SoCal Trav, Dexter McCoy is his one player that he wants to look at. We've spent a lot of time talking about him, and I'm actually going to be keeping a real close eye on him as well. David Drogmeyer took offense to something that you said, Justin, and that is Corey Liuget being long in the tooth. We're used to seeing him on the team for a while, but he's still a pretty young guy.
Sure, okay. Well, you can take offense.
He didn't take offense. I'm
sure.
Just
no,
he just disagreed with you. He doesn't think that
that's okay. I feel like he's an aging veteran now. He's in his prime, but he's one of the longer tenured guys here. He needs to make plays. We need to see it out of him. He got a big contract. That's why I'm saying
you're saying his veteran status does not
it doesn't exempt him from being criticized a little bit. I want to see the play.
Now, one of the I think that Jake, you had assumed this, and it's been confirmed anyways by David. Is Spencer Pulley will be starting at right guard.
Love that.
I'll be keeping a close eye
Perfect.
on him as well. You know,
Right
there's
guard,
a lot
right?
of people we're going to be watching, but we had the one guy. And Drogmeyer also he's keeping up his argument. He says that Legion's only 26. So although he does seem like he's been on the team with he seems like he's been on the team for about 10 years, but really he's only 26. And I know that the one thing that I do agree with you on Corey Leggett is we've seen little glimpses of how great he could be, but we have not seen got to turn it down a little bit. We have not seen consistent beginning of the year to end year dominance by Corey Leggett, which is something that we were kind of hoping and expecting to see. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up about him. I don't think he's long in the tooth either. I think it's just the perception that he's been on the team. Do you think that it's not make it or break it for him to make the team this year, of course, because it's not. But do you think that this is like a crossroads for Corey Leggett's season? Maybe are you expecting a lot out of him this year?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a crossroads, but when you're going to have a guy like Brandon Mebane playing next to you, your expectations as well as your play should be able to elevate from there.
Yeah.
And I think for the fact that, we now have a nose tackle who is capable of taking on double teams, this should free up Corey Leggett in one-on-one situations to where we've seen in the past that he can win. And so you should be able to see a better season out of him this year. So if it doesn't end up happening, then it may be a cause for concern for the defensive line is to say, well, what can we really do to get this guy any assistance that he needs in order for him to perform on the football field?
I agree. Last year, he was really the only guy on the defensive line, so it's real easy to scheme against one guy. I think this year with Mebane next to him and whenever we get somebody on the other side, but we actually have some pretty solid guys playing on the other side. Kendall Reyes is no longer on this team anymore. We don't have to worry about that. I do think that it's time for him to really, really step up and beat some guys one-on-one because he's going to see a lot more one-on-one. The other guys on the defensive line, with the guys rotating in and all, like Tenny Palapoy, of course, which is a favorite guy of yours. I'm trying to come up with the guys' names right. The other guys that are going to be rotating in.
Darius Philon.
Philon, huge fan of Darius Philon. By the way, I think he's going to probably get the start.
He will
at the other side.
Yes,
I loved what I saw from him last year. I've liked what I've seen so far in his limited time playing so far. But do we need to see something out of these guys? I mean, are you expecting
100%?
Yeah.
We're not going to have Damian Square the first 4 games of the season, and through the first 2 preseason games, he was actually out there making some good plays. So again, you're attacking a position of depth. And for the fact that you don't have 99 problems on the roster right now. So you definitely need to see some of these guys. And we've seen the flashes from Tenny Palapoy his first year a couple years back, and he didn't get a chance to play last year because he went down early in the season to an injury. And then everybody loves the intrigue of Darius Philon, but maybe the wild card in all of this is Brian Carruthers that we really need to see something about.
Yes.
Again, a guy who's shown flashes, but was passed over big time on the depth chart and as far as playing time last year behind some other guys. And you were kind of just wondering what is going on with him. So I think that's another guy from a depth standpoint that all 3 of these guys really need to step up at that position.
Yeah, can we say, I mean, what was Carruthers a 7th-round pick? I'm trying to remember.
Carruthers was a 5th-round pick.
Okay. It's time, that's another guy that it's really time to actually see. We need to see something out of him. We need to see, I'm not expecting a dominant guy out there, but what have we really seen from him? He's been a little bit injured, and like you said, he kind of almost has lost a little bit this year in training camp so far. Is Carruthers a guy, Justin, that is yours? Are you working? Oh, you got the wrong.
I'm in and out.
You put the wrong headset on.
Did I?
That's okay. Keep it on. Keep it on.
I did. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
But no, you have to see it. This is what we alluded to earlier. You have to stand out. You can't not make plays in the preseason. Yeah. For the safeties, for the defensive ends, Darius Philon, Brian Carruthers. It's do or die on the 3rd preseason game. If you don't do it today, you have to make your mark on the tape. Especially defensive end, where we're really depleted with depth-wise. You don't have Joey Bosa. We want to say his name all the time, but we don't have him. We don't have him. When you rely on a Darius Philon, we like him. We like the kid, but he's got to do some things too. We got to see it. We got to see it consistently. that's what this game's about today. We're going to see some guys get some opportunities today.
Without me being playing too, David brings up in the chat room. This is, Ryan Carruthers has to make some plays. This is his opportunity to say, okay.
Sure.
And I wanted to talk about it earlier, and now we have an opportunity right now. When we were talking about Kenny Phillips versus Dexter McCoy and Carruthers as well, how much importance do you put, Jake, on how you play during practice? We'll call it. It's versus your limited reps in preseason games, because you're maybe only playing a quarter. So when you talk about a guy like Phillips, he's not playing a whole game. You're not going to get a whole game worth of stats. You're only going to get a quarter. But we know that in practice, everybody's talking about how great he looks, and we're talking about all the interceptions and stuff. He's gotten to the games, and he hasn't really produced as much in the games, whereas a guy like McCoy, you heard, is okay in practice, but we've seen stuff from him in the games. How much do you weigh that as a coach? Important. What are you putting more weight on?
Well, it's more important because of the fact that in practice, you're going up against guys that you see almost every day. Game time, you're seeing guys that you, aside from watching film, are not too familiar with. And that is going to be an adaptable situation to where you have to make adjustments, and you have to ultimately perform and make plays out there that is going to get you your opportunity, get you your spot on the roster. So I definitely like the fact that you have Adrian Phillips and guys like that making plays in practice that we've read over the last several weeks. Dexter McCoy has done the exact same thing. But when it comes into game time and you just see these guys go completely silent and you don't hear anything from them, it brings up some of the question marks every once in a while. So, game time to me, I think holds just a little bit more strong value. I mean, you could say the same thing about Craig Mager. Craig Mager was riddled in practice last year. Totally got torn apart from anybody that was on Twitter. But when it came game time, especially in the preseason, he was actually out there making plays.
Right.
So
solid at least.
Yeah, you really have to weigh it a certain way. But I think when it comes game time, that they hold a little bit more value as far as the performance you're able to put on the field as opposed to practice.
Sure.
How about you, Justin? What practice versus preseason reps?
It's important. It's important because you need to be – we just talked about it earlier. We have to see Phillip in live game action. It's different from practice. You go against Verrett. That's fun. The D-line, that's a fun time. But you have to be live bullets flying. That's why you need to see Phillip out there. These guys have to get their reps. It's so much different than practice. Practice is practice. This is where it all begins. And this third preseason game, and because it's here today, and that's what we have in front of us, it's the most important game.
Yeah.
And 2-3 weeks from now, we'll look back at this game and go, "That was stupid. That was a dumb game." But today, it's the most important game.
Most important game that we've seen so far this season.
Exactly. And we're excited.
A couple things from the chat room. SoCal Trav agrees with what you had said earlier, and that's he thinks that we might be looking for a defensive end on waivers.
Yeah, definitely. We have to. We have to be doing our due diligence on that.
And David Drogmeyer, you know me. I'm a big McCoy fan. He brings something up in the chat room that it's just perfect. It's simple, it's boring, but it's perfect. And Mike McCoy says it all the time. He says, "Don't count the reps, make the reps count." And
sure.
And that's what we're talking about versus practice versus the limited reps you get on the field. And what they're doing is they take these reps, and we might not see. We talked about Mager before. Said, well, we haven't really seen so much of him. But who's seen every single step of every single rep in the games? The coaches, because they have the cameras and they're watching every single thing that these guys are doing.
Sure.
So you do need to make every single rep count. Mikey finished.
Mikey wandered on over here.
He's back with us. What's more important to you? What these guys are doing on the practice field, where they're getting a lot more time, or what you see from these guys in their limited reps in the games? What do you think is more important?
I think the limited reps in the game. You can't replicate game speed, game action. You just can't, no matter what you do in practice. So even though
we all know that. I mean, that's a common fan. If you're into football, you know that stuff. That's what it is.
I mean, you have these guys who are awesome practice all-stars, and they get in the game and they just can't do it. So, obviously practice helps you get out there.
Sure.
It's kind of like it gets you seen, it gets you doing well, but once you get in the game, that's where you make your money. I mean, think about like a guy like Tim Tebow who can't practice for, by all reports, was horrible practice. Even though you've seen him play, you've seen him win.
He looks horrible in the games, too. He just somehow ends up improvising his way.
Throws the ugliest passes.
But he could never get on the field, after that year. So you got to be able to do a little bit of both. But I mean, the most important is the game, I think.
Now that you're back with us, I'll give you the opportunity to weigh in on who's the one player today that you are looking at to maybe, there's a lot of players, of course. We talked about a lot of players, but do you have one guy that you're going to be focusing on, one guy that you think that maybe this is either maybe not make or break it, but it's a real important game for him?
I think Casey Hayward. I watched him last game. I liked him. I think that he might get an opportunity here today. And again, I just feel I'm really cheering for Flowers.
Sure.
I just don't trust him. He's just so inconsistent. And I know we talked about he had good defense, but at the end of the day, he still was allowing catches on him, and he was getting turned around.
That's okay.
So I feel he's tentative. So I think Casey Hayward can really just step up and take that spot.
So you're just seeing he just wants to see the secondary solidify their name. I mean, Flowers made the nice play. Casey Hayward, we alluded to earlier, very nice pickup. I think he's going to be great for us, especially nickel packaging and all that other crap that we shouldn't get into.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing, when you have solid cornerback depth, we're going to be able to go with our division's best every other week. So it's going to be fun.
Do you know another guy that we haven't brought up? We brought him up on the Wednesday show, but another guy who I think today's game, or at least today's game and the fourth game is make or break for him, actually, is Nick Zubnar. Yeah. I think that he's a guy that we talked about before. He was everybody loved what they saw from him in the preseason last year. I don't know. I don't like penalties. Penalties really, really bother me, and he had a lot of them last year. He's looked a step behind a little bit in the game so far this year, and I think for him to make this team of highly talented linebackers, especially with, Brown's not going to play again, but he's making the team, right? I mean, there's no doubt
he's going to make the roster.
He's making the roster.
They like
that's
his
another
potential.
roster spot. So Zubnar, I think it's make it or break it for him. Actually, I think today he's going to have to really solidify himself. He'll get some time. Do you think it's make or break for him today, Jake, or do you think it's too late for him, or do you think that I'm crazy and he's going to make the team no matter what?
I don't think today's make or break for him. I think next week is make or break for him.
More playing time.
Right. Yeah. And especially if you add in the potential to say, hypothetically, knock on wood, that Jatavius Brown comes back and plays next week, which I would hope that he would. How many reps are they going to give Jatavius at that point for the fact that he hasn't played in 3 straight preseason games? And then what is that going to do to limit Zubnar's production at that point in time? So I don't ultimately believe that it's make or break for him this week. Probably maybe not even next week, from this mere standpoint of the depth at the inside linebacker position.
Yeah. David in the chat room before we go, he makes another really good point about the game reps. He says, there's 90 guys on the team right now, and these guys aren't only trying to make the Chargers, but they're also auditioning for other NFL teams.
Sure, they're putting film on.
They got to put tape, and that's one thing about practice is those, not all the teams have your film from your practice.
Exactly.
The only time you get a chance to see it is the game reps, and that's what makes it matter most. To you real quick, Mikey, we're going to jump back now to Nick Zubnar. Do you think that this is make or break it for him? Or I've never really heard your opinion on him, to be honest with you. Do you think that he's what's your opinion on Nick Zubnar?
Honestly, I don't really have a strong opinion on him. I mean,
he was a preseason hero last year. He was all over the place last year, and everybody was screaming for him to make the team.
Right. I mean. Like we said, that gets you so far. It's once the games count, you got to make your opportunity. So could he do that again? Sure. But he's gonna have to really, really stand out. Just really be. I don't know. I kind of look at it like, in preseason, you have to be. When you're going against the 2s and 3s, you have to be the best player on the field. You have to be the dominant player. You have to be the one.
You have to stand out.
Yeah, who makes a difference in the game.
Yeah,
if he doesn't, if he doesn't make a difference,
out.
You can't just make good plays. You have to make a difference. You have to be the difference maker.
And that's the preseason. These guys trying to win a job, you have to make plays. I don't care if the ball was thrown to you because the quarterback threw a bad pass. Who cares? Catch the ball and run with it. I mean, you're there to make a play. And if you do it, like Dexter McQuill's scoop, even Jalil Dye's interception. That was a terrible throw.
Gotta
catch the ball. If he would have dropped that, we would have gone, man, that should have been a pick 6. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make a play, and that's what the preseason's for.
So SoCal Trav brings up Josh Perry, one of his favorite
that's
players
his boy.
this year. For me, actually, Josh Perry, which I'm excited for his
Very
his career.
excited, yes.
I don't think today's going to be the game for him. I'm gonna steal a little bit from Jake here. I think the fourth game. I think that's where we're going to see some actual playing time for Josh Perry, because I think a lot of guys are going to be sitting that week. So I don't think he's going to be getting more reps than usual today. Anyways, I think in the fourth game is when he's going to see his reps. Josh Perry, though, do you think that he's somebody that we're going to see today? Do you agree with me? You think we're going to see a little bit more from him today, or do you think we're going to be waiting? And if we see enough from him this year, do you think that that's going to has the opportunity for him to get into the rotation a little bit more during the season?
Well, sure. I mean, from the play that he put on in Ohio State already speaks for himself, and the intrigue that he's already drawn for the preseason has been well documented. And of course, he's already been given the opportunity and jumped on it too, as far as making plays in the preseason already. So I think especially for next week, if you really want a good look at Josh Perry, you're going to get it. Because of the fact that you're going to have most of your starters out, he's going to get a lot more playing time reps, even if Jatavius Brown is not playing next week on top of everything else. So I definitely think that he's a key cog for a depth position. I'm excited and I'm intrigued about him. I may not be as high as his future performance as SoCal Trav may be because of his predictions that he's made, but I definitely think that he's going to be a solid guy for us, for this year and for next year, especially in the rotation positions when it comes to having that depth behind Manti Te'o and Denzel Perryman.
Yeah, just to touch base with that, I'm a huge Perry fan. I think everybody is. When they drafted him and Jatavius, I think we were excited. But guys, I think he's going to be one of those savvy, veteran, just solid linebackers in this league for a long time, and he's going to get his opportunities. Like Jake alluded to, next week you'll see a lot of them probably with the first team, because they're not going to play a ton of starters. But I love the kid. He's got so much awareness, and he's smart. Captain for a reason, Ohio State. So that's a good thing.
Here's something that David just brought up in the chat room that none of us have talked about, and he thinks that Perry is going to and needs to make his name, but that's not in the defensive rotation. That's on special teams. We haven't really talked about Perry playing the special teams. We keep talking about, are we going to see him on the field?
Sure.
Are we going to see him in the rotation? But that's another call, a good call there. I think that Perry has the opportunity to be another standout guy on special teams. There's only so many players there are only 11 guys on the defense allowed at a time. We do have a lot of a lot of linebackers that are pretty talented.
Yep.
It is going to be tough to get onto the field. And let's be honest, if Josh Perry is on the field, that's probably bad news for us. That means that we've either had some guys really, really crap the bed, or we've had a lot of injuries.
Sure.
But I would love to see him make his mark on special teams. Mikey, you think that Perry on special teams is something that we're going to be seeing this year?
I mean, I think you have to give the opportunity. I like the kid. I think he has a lot of potential.
Is it tough for a guy who was a captain starting on defense, the one of the main guys there, to come in the NFL and translate over to special teams? Do you worry about that
at all?
So. No, I don't think so.
I think when you're a linebacker, that's what you probably have to do.
My personal experience, guys.
When you were playing for the Seattle Seahawks.
When I was, winning Super Bowls and everything. It was tough. But championship.
For the Ovaltine Owls.
No,
nice.
I can't imagine. I mean, being in the league is such an honor.
Yeah,
I think players know.
He's so humble though as a person anyway, and he's so articulate and just well spoken as a guy.
Which is strange from a guy from Ohio State,
the Buckeyes. Yeah. But that is you can tell
I love Jake's face.
he's a solid dude all around.
Well, SoCal Trav in the chat room wants to remind. He doesn't know if anybody remembers, but. He did say that Perryman was a badass. I don't know if anybody remembers him.
I don't know if
I
remember
Denzel Perryman ever.
He's never mentioned it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, all of a sudden after the fact,
Trav,
he's claiming Perryman's good after we all got a chance to see.
Yeah,
that.
I don't know what this Travis guy is talking about. Yeah,
so,
I never heard him say that.
So
stop lying in there.
He's using that to call his shot on Perry. He thinks that he got it right on Perryman, and Perry's going to be the same.
Sure.
I doubted what he said on Perryman. I was wrong, but what the hell? I'm going to doubt what he said on Perry too. I think that he's going to be solid, but I'm not sure he's going to be. I
thought Perryman had a lot of potential. I think we all did, but we just didn't know it would evolve into a starting role and kick somebody out of their starting spot. So,
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, and one thing we haven't talked about really today is that's the Vikings.
Who the hell are the Vikings?
Is there anybody?
Norv Turner?
Dante Culpepper going to
Norv Turner.
Yeah, Norv Turner, of course.
Sure.
Is Adrian Peterson even going to play?
He's not
today?
playing.
He don't play. No. He's the LT of their team. So
first of all, great call by them. I don't mind, but
yeah.
I actually want to see him play because I want to see how
he's on your fantasy team.
Fantasy football sucks. I wanted to see how our defense stood up against him. But is there anybody particularly on the Vikings that we should be watching out for? Somebody that that we need to be worried about, or a particular matchup that you're looking at?
I'm actually very curious to see how the Chargers do against Bridgewater. I don't think he had so much hype coming into last year, and
we handled him last time we played him.
Yeah,
right?
and so I really feel like they really should get after him, and they should definitely make his day a horrible Sunday. So I really want to see that, and I feel like if they don't, I'll be kind of disappointed that they weren't able to pressure this young kid.
Sure.
So the matchup of the defense against Bridgewater to me is what I'll be watching.
Two guys to keep your eye on in Minnesota. I'm a big fan. I've always been a Jerick McKinnon fan. He's just a really good, solid back. He's fast, and then also Stephon Diggs. Yeah, he can blow the top off. So cover guys are going to have to be on their game today. This is no slouch of an opponent for Week 3. This is why it's such a good matchup, and this is what we're going to gauge a little bit on this team. It's going to be a really good test for them. It's going to be fun.
Brad Sorensen.
Yes. I was a fan, man. I miss that guy.
Josh just got perked up all of a sudden.
Yeah, Josh is pissed. Somewhere in Arizona, he's mad. He's storming around his house.
What I'm actually really intrigued with is seeing how we match up two spots. Laquan Treadwell,
yes.
I want to see how our DBs handle him. Yeah. Yes. And because of the fact that we got absolutely dominated in the third regular season game against Minnesota last year, I want to see how the O-line holds up against that front seven.
The new O-line, yes.
Nice. We've had some more people jump into the chat room now. One thing, Hal just jumped into the chat room, and I just want to thank you, Hal, for letting me borrow your shirt. I'm wearing your Phillip Rivers shirt today. I know what a big
he
fan
loves
you
Phillip.
are.
He's a big fan.
So I appreciate you allowing me to wear that. And then something David brings up also in the chat room. He wants to see Melvin Gordon get 12 to 15 carries and really, really
Good
get
call.
into a rhythm.
I agree with David. He should. They should pound the rock today. Why not?
And I'm a big fan of sitting guys and not getting them hurt.
Sure.
And Melvin Gordon had a little bit of injury issue with the knee and everything. I actually agree with him. I want to see Melvin Gordon get into a rhythm and run the crap out of the ball and see what happens after he gets, because this 3 or 4 he doesn't get a chance to get a rhythm.
That's a good line they're going against. So let's see what they can do. This is going to be fun today. I'm very excited.
Melvin Gordon, 15 carries. Jake, do you think that's too many?
No. Not at all. Yeah. I think that's great, especially just
not for the third preseason.
Not for the third preseason game. Not from what you've already seen from this kid the past couple of weeks, and for the fact that this is only going to help boost his confidence that much more for every opportunity that he's got to make a play out there.
Sure.
Last question here from SoCal Trav: who gets cut? Kellen Clemens, Mettenberger, or Berkovich? Well, Mettenberger's easy. That's an easy
he ain't
one.
going to play today either. So I mean, he's good as gone. But
Burke is already number 3 quarterback today. On the depth chart,
but we can all agree we like Burke. So I mean, that's it.
I think that if I see enough, I've talked about this before. If I see enough from Berkovich, unless Clemens brings enough intangibles on the sidelines, helping Phillip on the sidelines, I wouldn't mind Clemens and Mettenberger getting cut and just going with Berkovich. If we lose Rivers, it's not going to matter. Clemens or Berkovich, we're screwed anyways.
Sure.
So
you've been snorting the Ovaltine again.
Yes. I ran out to the car during the last break.
That's where he was at, huh?
So
should we do predictions
for the game?
For preseason game?
Why not?
Let's do it. Why not? It's preseason.
Why not? Since you called it, you start it.
I will. I'm going to go 42, 38. Vikings.
38.
What? It's their home opener, and this could be a high-scoring game, guys. I don't know. This would be. I love high scores, so let's shoot for that. I love touchdowns.
I actually think it's gonna be a low-scoring game.
Oh God, 3 to 6. Lambeau.
It's 5-3. No, I'm just kidding.
Who's the Vikings kicker? Do we know?
Blair Walsh.
Blair Walsh. There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna say 17-10. Chargers.
Oh, way to be.
The 17. I'll say 17-13 Chargers. And one thing that I've I've noticed so far this preseason is as soon as Rivers and a couple of the starters are out of the game, Bergovici, he did look good, but ultimately they're not able to get into the end zone. The offense has not gotten into the end zone once Rivers has gotten out of the game, not very well anyways.
Do you guys want to see Keenan Allen in this game today?
No, I don't need to see him.
I'm just asking.
Look, he's out there. He's making plays. That's typical Keenan. But
but do you want to see him?
He doesn't need
today?
necessarily to play.
I want to see him.
Maybe
I'm
one
excited.
series, maybe one. Then get him out of there.
So what do you think offensively, or what do you think for a score today? I know the score doesn't really matter, but
no, it does.
What do you
Not
think,
preseason.
Jake?
I'll go 28-21 Minnesota. I think just because of the fact new stadium, new home opener.
That's why I went with the Minnesota.
They're going to be jacked for this game. So ultimately, I think they're going to come out and get the W.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for everybody coming down here. We had a fantastic time. We're going to stay, of course, and eat some great food and
I'm hungry.
drink a few more beers. It looks like a couple of the guys got started already. We're going to see a good game. We appreciate everybody who came out here. Jake, you going to go feed your dogs outside that you had pulling the sled, maybe down from Canada?
That was quite the trek, bro.
It's
got your visa.
I named my leader Rudolph too, by the way.
There you go. Kyle Rudolph.
Nice.
Yahtzee.
Nice. Remember, everybody, 14 days till the Chargers' first game.
Isn't it great?
Oh, it feels awesome. It feels awesome. I want to remind everybody, join us every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, San Diego Sports Junkies. Join us live on Spreaker. Thanks, everybody who joined us in the chat room, David and SoCal Trav. And
iHeartRadio as well, iTunes, TuneIn Radio. We're all over Stitcher. We're all over the place, guys. So tune in to us. We always have consistent talk with Jake and Jace, Mikey, Joshua. It's always a good time with you fellas.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Looking forward to the game. Looking forward to the season. Looking forward to talking to everybody else again on Wednesday. San Diego Sports Junkies show for the fans.
By the fans.
And we are out.
Big shit pop it, and little shit stop it. Ball on me, nigga, be a rookie now, and now do it. I regret to inform all of the TI fans, man. Go jump.
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmoe, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.